Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining here at Unapologetic Progressive. I'm back with another video. This time we're going to talk about some new laws down in Texas and Alabama, and I'm sure some other states are going to end up following suit, having to do with banning cell phones in schools. Now, I find myself in an interesting spot because I see both sides of the argument here. I'm not a parent, I'm not a teacher, but I also know a lot of these people, though. I know a lot of teachers, and I know a lot of parents. And the parents are very concerned. I think they have valid concerns, and I think teachers were concerned, had valid concerns, and I believe they are seeing, you know, a good change in their students. Let's talk about parents first, because I believe parental concerns need to be um, taken seriously. Parents, for example, are being told that their students cannot contact them during extracurricular activities or at all to schedule pickups and organize the pickups and stuff like that, especially for parents that have kids that may be at multiple schools, right? And so this is becoming a problem for them. But most parents, when it comes to the pickups, things like that, they say they'll figure it out. They've always figured it out in the past. They'll figure it out now, right? It's just going to take some time to get used to. But the concerns that I see from some parents and concerns that I have myself have to do with the safety of the students in school. This is and this argument is why I believe they should be allowed to have them in their purse or in their bags on silent or airplane mode or whatever. And the issue is school violence and school shootings. I know a lot of parents are concerned and they're terrified every time they send their kids to school in the first place. But to know they're sending them to a place where they don't have access to their cell phone at all, right? They see that as problematic because it's going to cost lives. Now, this is, like I said, I believe they should be on like airplane mode or silent in a bag or purse, right? I think that's where a cell phone should be. During class time, they shouldn't be used. But I believe during extracurriculars and lunch or recess, sure, they should be able to text their mothers and fathers and stuff like that, or their grandparents, or whoever they want to talk to. Because I see lunch and recess as free time, not instructional time. I believe kids should be free to do what they want within reason, as long as they're not, hurting themselves or others during their lunchtime and during their recess. And I know a lot of parents would agree with that. And so I think the parents have a reasonable argument here. I believe they have a valid argument here. But also at the same time, I think the students have shown that the teachers may be right in some respects. Right? Teachers have been talking about how their students are paying more attention, taking better notes. There's a guy that's on TikTok that I follow over on TikTok, and he's a teacher down in Alabama, and he says things haven't been better in his classroom. In fact, he gave his first quiz at the end of his first week, and guess what? Their grades were enormously higher than they had been in the previous years where cell phones had been allowed in the classroom. Now, I agree with teachers that they should not be allowed in the classroom. They should not be allowed during instructional time. I believe teachers should be able to tell a student that they cannot use their cell phone. Right? I believe that should be reasonable. I believe if a student uses their cell phone during class time, it should be taken. The teacher should be able to take it away and put it in a lockbox or a locked drawer in the classroom. Because it is a hindrance to education. It is a hindrance to teachers being able to convey the lessons of the day to the students. And I see that. I see the positives here for the students. I see how they're not being used during class time is going to bring up grades. I believe it's going to be a net positive for students. And I think this is awesome. But I think we have to balance the two, right? We have to balance the safety concerns with the educational concerns. Now, I have read that some schools have just said students can't use them during educational time, and that's reasonable, and I'm okay with that. But then I've read that some schools have completely banned them on school premises, where they are basically contraband, and I do not support that, and I will not support that. But I think the teachers are right, and I think the parents are right. I think the teachers are right that the kids shouldn't be using them during class. And I'm fairly certain that the teachers are not going to be lying to you about how it's going to affect how it's affecting their classrooms. Right? I've also seen teachers talk about how great it is that their students are actually during class communicating with each other, not just the teacher and not just paying attention, but communicating with each other during discussion. Right? And I think that is useful. I think that is helpful. But let me know in the comments where you stand. If you're a teacher or a parent, let me know. And let me know what you think about it if you're a student. How have these changes affected you? Um, do you support the idea as a parent or a teacher of the cell phones being banned completely? Or do you think it should only be a situation where they are banned from instructional periods and not from things like lunch and recess or extracurricular activities? Because that's where my biggest sticking point is on this. Is I really don't understand why people are trying to ban them entirely. That doesn't make any sense to me. So please explain to me in the comments what you think, how it's affecting you, and what you think the net positive or negative is going to be for these bans that are going into effect in Texas and Alabama and several other states that I have read are looking into. Anyhow, I'll see you down the road.